Here we have the 2016, I suppose late 2016 studio tour. I did actually do this a few months ago, and I didn't really care for the way it came out, so here I am doing it again. Just going to lock this camera off if I can get in the tripod. Right, there you go. So there has been a few changes since I last did this, so I'll go for a quick spin round. So top shelf, my Slingland artists there, two Donettes, the Cherry and a Steel N2, which is basically a sort of a Ludwig 400-esque type drum, but not quite. I'll do something on that at some point. And my very first snare drum there, which is now used as a timbale, or on occasion I've switched to using a small one because it's just easier to handle. But spare pedals, lots of spare pedals, lots of timbales, the mini timbales. Just go in on that. Mini timbales. I got some minor ones with the sort of snare wire underneath, the Toka ones there, which are 6 and 8, and then the minor ones are 8 and 10. Some DW pedals there, Yamaha pedal there. Sticks. I've got lots of sticks. I don't know why I've got lots of sticks, but yeah, there's loads of hot rods and stuff. So there's hot rods in there, there's sticks in there. So these are like these are all my Vater sticks, which I was using a few years ago, Vater, and then I went back to Vic Firth. But nothing wrong with Vater. I like Vater. I keep them. I will use them, I suppose, at some point. These are all sort of miscellaneous. Like these are, I think these are Steve White. They are Steve White sticks. Some HD9s there. These are some Promark. I think these are the Mike Portnoy ones, actually, or maybe some others. They're mostly Vic Firth anyway. I got given a load of sticks, very kindly given a load of sticks, and basically these are all the miscellaneous ones which I take out to the other thing that I do that isn't the ska band, which requires sort of different sticks for different songs. I'll say that. So these are all rods. These are all rods as well. Some of this is old review stuff, which you know, it's like drum heads. You can't really sort of give a drum head back after you've reviewed it. So yeah, they tend to sort of stay here. But yeah, rods and stuff. Then you've got all like the mallets in here. There's some mallet stuff, and there's some like timbale sticks as well. I don't really play timbales, but yeah, there's timbale stick there. Moving down, there you go. So you've just got to. Oh, I know I pressed the wrong one. Just miscellaneous stuff, really. My old mixer there, my in-ear stuff. It's my iTap. I'm going to do a review of that. Or there's a review actually on MikeDelbear.com coming up probably in the beginning of December. But really cool thing from the British Drum Company, that is. So look out for that. Yeah, and just more spares. This is just like really spares rack, really, more than anything else. So it's spares, drum keys in the middle there. Just bits and pieces, drum dial in the red box, and then all my gigging stuff, or mostly all my gigging stuff anyway. So that just basically stays by the door because it's easier. So got my P&D stool, the top of it in there, the actual units in that box, and then you've got my spares box, you've got my mixer and other bits and pieces. So that basically, all that stuff goes with me everywhere. Go back up to the top. Timbales, Rototoms. I've got loads of Rototoms still. I haven't bought any more Rototoms, but I still have more Rototoms than anyone possibly could ever want. 6, 8, 10, 10, 10, 14, 16. I never got around to getting a 12. and one of the 10s is in pieces. But yeah, they're mostly up there anyway. And there's all the percussion stuff, which occasionally comes out. Jam block at the top there. I don't know if it can come up on the camera. There's a jam block there, and yeah, tambourines mostly. But more sticks. This is a tad silly. As I said, I got given a load of sticks, and so I never have to buy sticks again. Let me just put this down. I never have to buy sticks again, I don't think. So although I actually haven't said that, I did buy these ones. So these are all drum art from Italy. It's quite nice drum art. I have a drum art snare drum as well. I reviewed those years ago. I had a pair of 7As, quite liked them, and yeah, so I bought a brick of 5As, used the pair. Funny enough, the first one broke. Wasn't too impressed with that, and then but 5As a little bit big for my little ass baby hands, so you know, I went back to the Vic Firth SD4s, which are perfect for, as I said, my little baby hands. But these are all Pro Marks. These are the 595 forwards, I think. Oh no, they're the rebounds, they're the forwards. So it's 595, 595, 565. I got given these to review. They're the special black grip ones. 565 forwards, 550s, Billy Ward ones, which are very similar to the SD4 in terms of the weight and stuff, and the size, which I kind of like. And it's got a little bulb on it as well. Benny Grabs, and then you got some miscellaneous Vic Firth ones there. I think there's some 5A with the dip. There's Steve White ones, I think. More miscellaneous Vic Firth, and then just other miscellaneous stuff. I don't know. But as I said, I don't actually have to buy any sticks for years now. Right, I haven't got labels on all these, which is a bit silly, but it's my Van Cleef. Obviously these two are self-evident. I think, if I remember rightly, my timeless timber is in there. My 14x4 timeless timber. Moving down, it's all my electronic stuff, so you can see there's triggers there. I've been messing around with triggers this year. Yeah, I've still got to keep working on that, but they're all the pads that I've managed to acquire over the years. The Roland trigger pedal, the Fat Cat, Hat Cat pedals and stuff. So if at any point I need an electronic setup, I can do something. So which is cool, I suppose. Heads on the bottom, loads of spare heads there, and there's two cases at the bottom there with all my hardware, well, some of my hardware, and the things like cymbal arms and clamps and things like that. There's two small cases in there, but yeah, all very dull stuff. But moving along, I will quickly whiz round the top shelf. It's actually the left-hand side is actually a sort of a practice pad that I put together many years ago. It's got a mesh head on it. It's actually the top of a high tension snare unit thing. I don't know really what to call it. Basically it's a metal bearing edge with a ring on it. But yeah, Arbiter 10x2 Manu Cache, Birch Custom Absolute, in the funky rainbow sparkle. I've only ever seen one other of those drums. A Bamboo, Yamaha Bamboo. The prices on these things are getting ridiculous. I saw one go for about 400 quid the other day, and they weren't even 400 quid when they came out. It's utterly mad. I don't know what the world's coming to. They're not the world's greatest snare drum or anything, but they seem to have appreciated value hugely. So if anyone knows why, please do let me know, because it's a mystery to me. I'm not going to flog that one. I like it, but you know, still a mystery. Moving on, we've got the Yamaha Oak in honey amber, I think it was, or something. Let's just zoom in a little bit more. There you go. So Beach Custom there, that funky red colour. Anton Fig, Kenny Aronoff 15x4 Trackmaster. It's just a steel Tama 10x5. That one, yeah. Over in that corner, is my 80s, which you can't really see, and I can't really get into show you all that well. That's my Tama Artwood from the 80s, with the recut bearing edges by Gary Noonan, apparently, so I was told. And behind that, which you definitely can't see, but you might be able to see the plastic that's, there you go, might be able to see the plastic that's actually around it, is the Odori from Brazil, which I've previously, it has previously come up on other videos. So Premier. Now I've tried to group all these things together in here, so they make a little bit of sense. But anyway, so you've got the Premier in the corner. That's a 10 by, I think, sorry, a 12 by, I think it was a 12 by 6 actually. Next one I was given with the kit that's in the other room, but and I fixed it up, and yeah, it's all right, I suppose. I don't know what the serial number, the model number is on that one, or the one next to it, but the one next to it on the left is actually the it was my second snare drum, but I suppose my first proper snare drum, my first badge snare drum. So I'll never get rid of it. It's I don't use it very often, but I do take it out occasionally to, like, if I have a rehearsal or anything. So Premier Janista 14 by 7, DW 10 plus 6, that's the 10 ply plus a 6 ply re-ring. DW Copper 10 by 14 by 6, 2 DW Bell Brasses. They're both actually, I'll have to do separate videos on those. They are both from 1998, so they're both from when DW was actually a sort of still a custom company. So yeah, I got those both off of eBay within the last sort of 4 or 5 months, and the one on the left I got for a steal. So very grateful about that. Oops. Spawn, this never shows up very well under artificial light, but that's actually a black, a sort of purple to black fade, 14 by 6, and it's a 16 ply, I want to say, maybe a 24 ply, can't remember, I think it might be 24 ply. Spawn carbon fibre, Graham Russell's got one of those up on his website for 400 quid second hand. That was 400 quid when I bought it brand new, and that was at least 10 years ago, so I don't know why. Yeah, it probably explains why it's always on his website. That one is, the next one is a 14 by 5, that's the same as the carbon fibre actually, 14 by 5. It's a segmented, no, it's a block shell of a wood which I cannot for the life of me remember. But yeah, it's a pretty cool drum anyway. Spawn, I think that one's an 8 ply, so it may be that the purple one is actually a 16. But anyway, it's a Spawn. It's a 13 by 6. I'm very sure it's an 8 ply. So, and over in that corner there, we've got a little Groove Percussion. It's a 13 by 3. Now, a friend of mine gave me that as a present many years ago. He was given it by a gentleman who worked for some Ponce Aussie band, AC something or other. Basically the Bison was a friend of the Hamsters, who's the guy who gave me that one, and he picked it up in New York and gave it to Al. So it's a funky little drum. I don't play it particularly, but it's because it's not really my size as such, but I'll never get rid of it because it was a gift and I like it. So one of my 2 Mapex snare drums, the Deep Forest Cherry, I think that was, with 24k gold hardware. Hell, if I was actually looking at it, wouldn't it? So there you go. I think I took that out recently to rehearsal. Sounds cool. I'm sure it's got deeper over the years. The wood's got deeper. 3 400s, 3 Acolytes. They're all different, funny enough. Every single one of those is different in some way or other. But in fact, one of those, I think it's that very left one, was used by Stanton Moore, and he came over in 2007, did a tour with Mike Delbert. So he actually signed the inside of the drum for me. So yeah. Anyway, moving along, you've got in my 402, which I think I did a video on recently. You've got my Super Sensitive Black Beauty from the 70s, my other Black Beauty from the late 80s straight 90s, which is a hammered bronze shell. They're all 14.6.5, and let's go over there a little bit. And then you've got my Pioneer Duco, which I did do a video on recently, the White Marine Pearl WFL, and stuck there in the corner was the elusive one, which I don't know if you've seen that video, but was the one I couldn't find, and then actually was behind me like an arse because I didn't realise, is my Lydian Ludwig New Era, which I will do a video on at some point after I've tuned it up. And then on the bottom we've got basically spare. I don't think there is any cymbals in those cases, but more electronic stuff really. Is the Simmons bass drum TD8 Brain, which only works now on the mains because the battery's dead in it. So in that flight case are ride cymbals. Well, I say ride cymbals, it's mostly ride cymbals. There's anything basically over about 20 is in there. All my spare cymbals and stuff. You've got some cymbals that need to go back. The seat which I sit on in here, I don't ever take it out with me, but it's comfortable enough to sit on in here if I'm doing something or watching a video. Snare drum I've got to review, and I cannot for the life of me remember what the name of it is. And then under there is my cymbal case, a flight case basically full of anything that's 18 or below. So it's mostly full of sort of crashes and hi-hats and things. So my little table thing, and you'll obviously have seen this before, is the Craviotto rack. That sounds so wrong, doesn't it? But there we are. Which is all Craviottos. And that goes down to the floor, so that's basically, obviously you can't see it, but there's basically 5 levels of Craviotto love there. And moving along, it's my RCI snare drum. I used that the other day actually, the last gig I did last Friday, and so it's a 12 by 6 that is, with offset lugs in the sort of Coke bottle green, I think they call it, or whatever. That's a 1920s Leedy. It's a brass 6 lug, and the other one is a brass 8 lug. The one on the left sounds like a 1920s drum, and the one on the right sounds like crap. I've never been able to get sound out of it that I liked. I probably should flog it, but I don't know. I mean, I only paid 200 quid for it, but I don't know if I'll get that back. So, and you know, fairly self-evident what that is. So anyway, moving along is the stack of snare drums. I can see if I can remember and go through these actually. So my Provenance Pescon, which I've done a video about, my DW Titanium. If you are in the UK, or if you've seen Rhythm magazine recently in the last couple of months, and that article with Chad Smith, that is that drum. Chad Smith used it for that photo shoot, along with one that DW sent down for him, which is the sort of, I don't know what you call it really, Coca-Cola coloured sparkle, poo sparkle, I don't know what you want to call it. Disgusting looking. Root beer sparkle, how about that? Root beer sparkle, that's a little bit more entertaining, isn't it? But anyway, yeah, Chad Smith used that snare drum, and if you see the video of him playing in Trafalgar Square, that's that drum. So I don't know what's in that protection racket one. I think it's the Donette copper, actually, the 13 by 5 copper, which is the oldest Donette I've got. I think that's about 15 years old, that one. That's the Drum Arts next. That is the other Spawn that I have, which is a hybrid. It's a maple acrylic 13 by 7. That green case. Oh, it's the Noble and Cooley. That's the alloy classic Noble and Cooley, the smaller one of the two, so it's like 14 and 4 3/4, I think. Top hard case, that would have to be the 14 by 7 edge in Mike Fox, you told me what finish that was in. I can't remember. Is it Black Velvet? I think it was Black Velvet. Anyway, shout out to Mike. Anyway, hello. It was lovely to see you the other week. Noble and Cooley again. That's a solid shell, 14x4 maple. 2 Highwoods. So hello to Gareth. 2 Highwood hallmarks there. The black one, as it was called, which is the larger of the 2 cases, the 14x6.5, very heavy drum, and the one above that is the 14x4. I really should take those out and play them again recently. I haven't played them much recently, so I need to. And that bottom one is actually my CNC maple, and it is in abalone finish. It's a 14x7. It's got an Evans. It's like an Evans Renaissance head on it, and quite a sort of soft sound, soft attack to it. I'm gonna have to dig that out and play it. Yeah, you have to dig that one out. Anyway, just moving on to the last rack in this here room. So more snare drums and some heads. So the heads are on the very top. They're all bass drum heads and stuff. So in the left hand case, obviously you can't see these because I've not taken them out, but the DW 15x6 I think it is, which is kind of all taped up a la Steve Jordan, give it a little bit more of a sort of deeper sound. Tama, that's the Exotics Bubinger. I think it was 180 of 300, that one. My pink champagne sparkle Joe Montaneri. Then we have an empty case. The empty case is basically if any of the snare drums behind me on the rack, if they happen to go out for a rehearsal or something, that is the case that I use, because otherwise I'll just grab obviously one that's in a case already or in a box or something, and it's so that's basically an empty case. My Donette, which actually was the case, the tape says Stanton number 9 on it, I think, which was the case that was used for that 400 that I mentioned before. And then my Tama Copper 14x5, I think it's 14x5 or 14x5.5. Relatively hard, relatively heavy sort of copper style classic anyway. But right down here, these are some of the new, well, 1 or 2 of these are the new ones anyway. Obviously you can read all these, so I won't go into too much detail, but the Craviotto Whitewash, it's the one that matches the kit, 13.7. 2 walnuts, the Sea Green Cherry, which I think I've done a video on, and my very first ever Craviotto, the DW Crav Ash 14x5, still one of my favourites. I'll come back to that one. Mapex Babylonian, it's my other Mapex drum. DW Edge, Thomas Lang used that one a couple of years ago when he came over with Mike Telbear. In fact, just there you go, just behind the door, which you can't see, so I will lift the camera up, is that's the head that was on that drum, which he signed for me, and I put it there. So yeah, anyway, so yes, Thomas used that, and that's quite cool. I actually had that on the kit in the other room up until a couple of weeks ago. So my original Tama Style Classic 14x5.5, and the Donette Ancient Carry 14x6.5, and I suspect I've been to the place in New Zealand where that carry was well, processed at least. So I don't know what's in this box, so I'm going to look. Okay, so it's something heavy. Oh yeah, it's that. Should have known. There you go. So that's the DW Edge 13, but I don't know why I haven't marked the box. 13 by 6.5 edge in what I'm going to affectionately refer to as yellow snow finish, because that's what it looks like. And then just on the bottom, more cymbals. I've got my camera spares in there and my audio spares in another box behind it. They are the low volume Silverton low volume cymbals, which I've got to review and play around with. And then these are basically my gigging cymbals. Well, I'd say they're my gigging cymbals. They're not exactly my gigging cymbals as such. They're all gigging cymbals, but for the most part. So like these are the whites in there. They're my signatures. They're the 2002s and a couple of 3000s. And then I think these are some Zildjians and some Minors and things. And then you've got bells. You've got the Alu bell thingy, pricey one, and then Zil bells in there, which are fantastic and very loud. So anyway, that's this room. So we can go through to the next room now. And here we are. This room's probably had quite a lot of change round in it. I mean, this room's actually the one that's changed the most since I basically moved in here. I look back at some videos I did years ago, and it amazes me how little I had in here at the time. But yeah, that's changed. But anyway, floor tom, 2 floor toms there, the Crystal Beat on the left, and whilst that's actually the SQ2 case on the right, it's got the Craviotto floor tom in it. More Craviotto snares. Yeah, they were overspill. I did originally want this drum to just be kits and stuff, and then I kind of ran out of space next door for all the snare drums. So now there's quite a few snare drums in here now. My Sonor Blanched Roots, which is 14.6 I think. My empty box for the Sia Aussie drum behind me, which is actually on the kit. My Star, my Tama Star Maple snare. My Trilogy, Sakai Trilogy snare drum in green sparkle, one of my favourite finishes. One day I will have a kit in green sparkle. I decided, you know, it's probably the one thing I really want a lot. I mean, it's so much stuff. It's so much. I'm so greedy. Hence the obvious statement of the century. But SQ2 floor top. Well, sorry, SQ2 toms over there. The 8 and the 10 in the case. The bottom one's actually the case of the 12, and that case is pretty much always exclusively for my Yamaha Birch Custom Absolute. I've got the 10 and the 10 the 14 toms in there at the moment. I've just decided I decided to go back to a 10-inch tom as a rack tom, and then I used one last Friday, and now I'm not quite so sure, but I'll see how it goes. Stack of bass drums there, just behind that, just there, all the way up there. So you've got the Craviotto at the bottom, the RCI, which is the blue acrylic. In that one, you've got, well, actually that's the SQ2 case, but it's got the Craviotto 16 by 18 inch kick drum in it, and that very top one there is the Craviotto gong drum. I don't know why I say Craviotto gong drum. I've only got one gong drum, and that's who it's by. So I'm going to just move the light around a little bit if I can, just so you can get a slightly better look at what's going on up here. So I've always I like looking at this particular shelf, because there's lots of stuff on it, as you can see. There's lots of stuff there, and I just like the myriad of colours as much as anything else. But anyway, so let's just straighten the camera up, and I will stick the camera up in the air a little bit. So the maroony coloured drums are on my Premier XPK. I've had that since 1989. I did do a video of that a couple of months ago when I had a big silly kit up, which I will eventually put out, but until I can get the sound on it sorted, that's going to have to wait. So the white drums there with the Craviotto, 13 and 14 inch toms, and the one on top of that is the 12 inch Birch Custom Absolute, the aforementioned one that's usually in the case on the floor. Behind that to the left there is more XPK. The turquoise ones are Premier Genista from 95. You've got my Slingland Oyster Pink Pearl, which I'm going to do a video on hopefully very soon. Long overdue. My Heyman Gold Ingot there, 12 and 13 inch toms. RCI acrylic with the wobbly camera. They've got Yamaha blocks on them, which I took off of the Birch Custom Absolute, and then subsequently went back to using a 10. So the 10's actually got a rims mount on it. This black one was just a no-name old gash tom that was left around a mate of mine. He's a guitar player. Hello Jason, you right? And he gave it to me along with a snare drum, which I have subsequently lent to someone else. I sprayed it black, quite obviously. I've put a mesh head on it, which I think is the mesh head up there. I kept the original head on the bottom, and basically stuffed it full of something or other. I can't remember what it was because I did it a while ago, and I was going to use it as basically a triggered bass drum. I don't know how I'm quite going to mount it because I never got that far in the thinking, but that's what I'm going to use anyway. That's how I'm going to use it. So, but yeah, I always like looking at that. It's kind of my favourite shelf in here, I guess. So bass drums. That's the Birch Custom. That's something else, and that's something else. It's terrible, isn't it? I should know. I think this is actually the Oyster Pink. And for that one, I can't remember. I think that might be the Heyman Gold Ingot actually. And then just moving the drum head out of the way. And then on the bottom here, so and we're looking down. So you've got two white Premier bass drums there, which I took the heads off of one of them at least. So I got one of those is with the white kit, Premier kit that I got given by another guitar player friend of mine, who I know won't ever see this. I got given that because it was just clogging up his house, and he didn't need it or anything. So I took it, I put new heads on it, tried to get it going, kind of gave up on it a little bit, but I was looking on eBay. I thought, you know what, it's a little bit of a folly, a little bit of a laugh. I will see if I can find another bass drum, and I did. I found one on eBay for about 30 quid. I drove round to the other side of London. I'm on the west side of London. I drove to the east side of London, and the fellow was a cabbie, and he opened the door and said, "You're that bloke off at YouTube, aren't you? Does all those videos?" It was a little bit embarrassing, but apart from being embarrassing, I was very, very deeply flattered. And yeah, so if you're watching this, I've still got the bass drum. It's very cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. But that was nice to meet him. It was very nice to meet him, and I was absolutely thrilled. I'm always thrilled when people watch these things. There's another case there. It's another floor tom, although I can't remember what. So these are more bass drums. Obviously, that's the Rosewood. That one there is the Pearl Crystal Beat, and then you've got the dropping things. You got the Genista 24x18, and that's basically the bottom one's a storage case, and then you've got like microphone things up there, stands and stuff. I put these boardings in, I put them together as a cheap little experiment to basically see if they did anything in terms of deadening the room. I think the jury's still out on that a little bit, but if it works, it works. It was a cheap experiment. So anyway, this last rack is actually kind of I suppose floor tom corner. Probably not physically the best rack for them, but I've kind of, they're the ones that I don't use very often. So on the top there you got obviously the white one, the white Premier one. In that back corner, let's just there you go. Right, so if we have a look at that one there, that case is actually my Manu Cache bass drum, which is a 16x16 anyway, so it's effectively a floor tom. The Oyster Pink there, you've got the XBK, I think that's the 16 actually. Let's just point the light over that way a little bit. So there's the 16 over there. There's something else, maybe an empty case actually, the turquoise one, and then underneath there's a few more floor toms and stuff, so I'm not going to go over and pull them out. You know what a floor tom looks like. So this bit here is kind of just really it's a false wall, and I put it in, well, A, to be a false wall, and secondly to be a backdrop for when I'm doing like reviews and things like that. And so I tend to just keep it up there anyway, because it makes the room look less cluttered when it's up. But I've just got a couple of hardware cases and things, and there's a floor monitor there as well, so very uninteresting stuff. So this thing there, whilst it might look fairly impressive to the lesser initiated, it's basically very low end stuff. It's all quite budget, except for the Motu 828 Mark II, which is the top of the two black units there, and then the Alesis DM5, which if there's any metal drummers out there will know about, because it's kind of, it was the industry standard, I think, to some degree, for triggering kick drums in the metal world. But I don't play metal, but I've been pottering around with triggers and stuff, as you'll see in a minute on the kit. But yeah, I bought it there, and it's just there for work in progress really for me. So moving on to the snare drums, there's probably most of the cased snare drums that are actually now in here. So the top left, Brady 12x7. It's a ply drum. I cannot for the life of me remember what the wood is though. Next to that is the Donette stainless steel 12x6. It's called Pip. The one next to that is, I think, Donette Cocobolo 12x7. That's called Nico. Next to that is a Pearl Tamo Ash. It's a Pearl, I think it's mahogany, 12x7 in purple Tamo Ash finish, which is a nice cool drum. It's got a very sort of unique sound to it. Okay, now there's actually something to look at. On the left, obviously, it is just a shell. I need to get Alan Van Cleef. If I pull my head out my arse for long enough, I need to get Alan Van Cleef to make it into a drum for me. But it is actually the same shell as the Highwood drums that are in the other room. So it's a 12x6 and it's an inch thick aluminium. The drum next to it is the Provenance 13x9. It might not look like it's 9 inches deep, but it is. And that was used on the Kylie Minogue tour along with the Craviotto kit in 2011. And I've only got one snare stand that actually goes deep enough to really fit it, and that's the one that's on this kit, and it's not good enough to gig with. So when I took it out with me a couple of weeks ago, I actually had to sit higher just in order to play the thing. So next to that is Pearl 12x7 soprano in liquid amber finish. So if you think of Dennis Chambers in the 80s and early 90s, that's that drum. That's a Mark 1 actually, so it's got the long one-piece lugs rather than the later two sort of Masters lugs on it, and next to that is a Pearl 12x5 firecracker, stainless steel firecracker, which I said that I reviewed them about 11 years ago, and I said at the time, and I stand by it now, is that they have probably the best interior of any drum I've ever seen, and probably a shinier, more buffed finish on the inside than most drums had on the outside. So well done to them on that. Acrylics, lots of acrylics now. So the 14x13 red Crystal Beat floor tom, the RCI 14x14 floor tom now, and then moving down, you've got obviously a drum that is obscured by a stick bag. That's an 8-inch and a 10-inch Crystal Beat, and they are in amber or yellow depending on your point of view, and the 12 is next to it in red. Reason I got the two drums in amber, quite simply, is because when I ordered originally ordered about 10 years ago the RCI drums, I ordered 10, 12 and 14, and then I kind of thought it'd be nice to get an 8-inch drum as well, and I inquired. This was a little while after I'd had the kit, and I inquired, and by that point the price of oil had gone up, and pretty much they wanted, for an 8-inch drum, they wanted the same price as that floor tom, and I politely declined and never brought the subject up again. So I didn't want to make the same mistake this time. Basically, I couldn't find anyone. They only turned up about a week ago. I could not find anyone who was doing 8 and 10-inch reds. I wasn't going to wait the sort of 8 or 9, 10 months that Pearl decided to charge for these things. So basically, I bought amber. I figured if I'm gonna if I'm ever going to take them, it'll be in here if I ever play them all as a kit, I would do 8, 12, 10, and basically have the two amber drums flanking the red one. So and on the bottom, which you can't really see, but in fact there's not much to see, just hit some cymbals, that's my Premier marching drum. That's a 14x10, and the Manu Cache toms. So on to the kit. I'm going to do a separate video on this one because this is one of my favourite kits, but this is my SQ2. This has been up for a couple of months. It will be up for maybe another day or so, and then I need to change it out for some other bits because I have some things in here I need to do. But the little red things there are triggers, and I have been, as I said, pottering around with triggers. So there's D-drum triggers on the toms, and I did have one on the kick drum, but I took it off to put it back onto the actual gigging kit. The snare drum on there is the Sia 12x6 red gum. I'm going to do a video on that. That's a very cool drum. Drums from Sydney, Australia. I reviewed one a few months back, and I will be doing a review of that one fairly soon as well. I've not had I don't want to change the tuning on it. That's the way it came when I bought it a few weeks ago, and I don't basically want to mess with it, so I'm not going to. My little cymbals on this kit, these are kind of the ones that I don't gig, so I have them in here. They're all sort of the Benny Greb Sand series sort of things, and then the Byzance hi-hats and splash and stuff. But it's a fabulous drum kit, and I will, as I said, do a video on that. I put some more adornments on the wall. I don't know if this is going to show up very well. So on there, that used to say hit this one hard right here. I did, and that's what happened. I've only ever busted, I think, 2 snare heads in my 20 whatever years of gigging. The last one was last Friday, but it wasn't nearly as bad as that. I went. The song basically started. It was 1, 2, 3, crack, and it was 1, 2, 3 crack, and the snare head basically fell through the bottom to the bottom of the snare drum. So that was entertaining. Thankfully it was the last song. Right, Vic Firth sticks. Those belong to Andrew Small. I think his name's Andrew Small. Used to be Kylie's drummer before Tom. There's some sticks that someone got me as a present. I think maybe my sister from the States. There you go. I've never been one for partying, but you know, it looks cool. There's my signed Craviotto head. JC signed that when I met him in 2014. I don't know if that's actually going to come out on here. There you go. Dave, all the best, Johnny Craviotto. And then over there, there's some more sticks. I think these ones my sister got me. Brian Fraser Moore is the middle one. That's an unplayed one actually. And Jeff Dugmore is the top pair. He British session drummer, amongst other things. You will have heard his playing if you're not familiar with the actual name. Whoops. Live long and prosper. My wife bought me that as a gift, which is rather cool, and being a lifelong Trekkie and all that. And that was a wedding present, because if I haven't said before, my wife is from New Zealand, and a lot of people seem to think I am too, despite the fact that I am from London. Is that on the floor? Which is some of my Zildjians, mostly K's. I keep this in here because basically, apart from the minors which are on the kit, I kind of like to refer to these. So I've got very few A's, but this is one of them. My second favourite 6-inch Splash. My absolute favourite being a Minor Byzance. My 8-inch Splash. A couple of Minors now. Suncaster Fusion and the Oriental Trash Splash. 12-inch K, no 10-inch K Splash. That's what the 6 sounds like. I've got a 12-inch somewhere. That's probably in the bag. K hi-hats, which are very cool. I like those. That's an 18-inch Dark Crash thin, 19-inch thin. It's a 60s K. I think it's a 60s K. This is my first cymbal. Probably wasn't a bad first cymbal actually. I got given this with my very first kit. So as you can see, it's keyholed. There's a lip there. Some marks on it. Has been signed though. It's a lovely silvery sound. I will never get rid of that cymbal. And then you got some other bits and pieces there. It's a Peisty 602. Sorry, Sound Creations Bell Ride. It's a 505 heavy Giant Beats 20. It's a 20-inch Peisty prototype. It's a bit Dark Energy prototype. 22-inch Renaissance Ride, which is one of my, I think probably my favourite K ride, or my favourite Zildjian ride. And the Benny Greb 22 Sand Ride thing. Oh, and the A flat ride there. Will Taylor, see, I've still got it. I got that from Will, and I don't use it very often, but it is there for me to use. Very cool cymbal. I know you didn't like it, Will. I dig it. It's cool. So, anyway, that is the room. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. Hopefully it wasn't too long-winded. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching all of these videos. It's incredibly gratifying to know that people do watch these videos. And yes, I will see you in the next one. Thanks very much. See ya.